At my sister's wedding, my parents demanded I give her the $450,000 house I built myself. When I refused, my father snapped and struck me with a metal cake stand, sending me to the floor. The room fell silent until my sister's fiancé revealed a truth that shattered my parents' world. I'm sitting in the back of an ambulance, right now with an ice pack pressed to my temple and a police officer taking my statement. My head is throbbing, but for the first time in 24 years, I feel light. I grew up as the provider child. My sister Chloe was the golden girl. My parents, David and Linda, poured every cent into her pageant coaching, her private school, and her failed influencer career. I was the one who worked 3 jobs to pay my way through trade school and eventually built a high-end construction firm. 2 years ago, I bought a plot of land and spent every weekend building my dream home. A custom-designed $450,000 modern farmhouse. It was my sanctuary. The trouble started at Chloe's wedding rehearsal dinner last night. My father took me aside, smelling of bourbon. He told me that since Chloe's fiancé, Mark, was struggling with his startup, it was my familial duty to sign the deed of my house over to them as a wedding gift. You can build another one, Leo, he said. Chloe needs a head start. I laughed in his face. I thought it was a sick joke. It wasn't. Fast forward to the wedding reception today. The venue was beautiful, but the tension was suffocating. During the toasts, my father stood up. He didn't talk about love or the future. He grabbed the microphone and looked directly at me. We have a special announcement, he beamed. In the spirit of family, my son Leo has decided to do something truly selfless. He's gifting his new home to the newlyweds today. Let's see the keys, son! The room erupted in applause. Chloe was crying tears of joy, looking at me like I was finally worth something. I stood up, my heart hammering against my ribs. The music died down as I walked toward the head table. I'm not giving them the house, Dad, I said, my voice projecting through the silent hall. I never agreed to this. You're lying to everyone. The silence that followed was deafening. My mother's face turned a shade of purple I've never seen. My father's eyes turned cold. Don't be a selfish rat, he hissed, leaning away from the mic but not far enough. After everything we did for you, you're going to humiliate us? You did nothing for me. I snapped back. I built that house with my own blood and sweat while you were bailing Chloe out of credit card debt for the 5th time. My father snapped. It happened in a blur. He reached for the heavy, tiered metal cake stand on the table next to him. He swung it with a grunt of pure rage. The metal caught me right above the eye. I hit the floor hard. The world spun. I could hear screams, the sound of glass breaking, and the wet thud of my own body hitting the hardwood. Blood started trickling down my face, staining my white dress shirt. Get up! My father roared, standing over me. Get up and give your sister what she deserves. The room fell into a deathly horrified silence. Nobody moved. My mother was just standing there, nodding, as if my father hadn't just committed an assault in front of 200 people. Then Mark stood up. Mark, the struggling fiancé. He looked at my father, then at the blood on the floor, then at Chloe, who was looking at me with more annoyance than concern. Sit down, David, Mark said. His voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the room like a blade. Mark, honey, it's okay, Chloe started, reaching for his arm. He's just being difficult. No, Mark said, pulling his arm away. He looked disgusted. I've been sitting here for 6 months, listening to you 3 plot how to guilt Leo into giving up his assets. I stayed because I wanted to believe you weren't actually that cruel. But this? Mark looked around the room, making eye contact with the guests. My struggling startup? Mark laughed bitterly. I sold that company 4 months ago for $7 million. I'm not struggling. I have more than enough to buy 10 of Leo's houses. My parents froze. Chloe's jaw literally dropped. I didn't tell you because I wanted to see if you loved me for me, or for the money, Mark continued. And today I found out you don't even love your own son. You're vultures. Mark walked over to me, grabbed a linen napkin from a table and pressed it to my head. He helped me stand up. The wedding is over, Mark announced to the room. He looked at Chloe. Call your lawyer. Or don't. We never signed the license and we never will. You can keep the dress. You're going to need something to wear to your father's arraignment. Mark helped me walk out of that hall while my mother started wailing, and my father stood there, paralyzed, as the police, called by the catering staff, walked through the front doors. As I sat on the bumper of the ambulance, Mark came over and handed me his phone. He had recorded the entire conversation from the rehearsal dinner, where they planned the public gift ambush. Give this to the cops, he said. Press charges, Leo. Burn it all down. I'm pressing charges. For the assault, for the harassment, for everything. My parents are currently in holding, and Chloe is blowing up my phone, screaming that I ruined her life and cost her millions. I didn't ruin her life. I just stopped letting them ruin mine. The house is still mine, and for the first time, it finally feels like a home.